Okay, hi ladies. So tonight I'm going to be presenting some myth and history on the divine mother goddess Isis, along with her asteroid number 42 in astrology and what the archetype looks like through the signs and the houses. And we're going to look at some charts of some celebrities that have pretty obvious Isis presence in their charts, and you can really see it in their careers and in how they present in the world. But before we do any of that, I just wanted to sort of tune in to the energy of Isis, and I found a beautiful poem type thing online. So it says, "Listen to the words of the great mother, who of old was called Artemis, Astarte, Hecate, Diana, Brigid, Demeter, and Isis. I am the beauty of the green earth and the white moon and the mysteries of the waters. From me all things proceed, and unto me they must return. Let my worship be in the heart that rejoices, for all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. Let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, reverence within you. And you who seek to know me, know that your seeking and yearning will avail you not unless you know the mystery. If that which you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. For behold, I have been with you from the beginning, and I am that which is attained at the end of desire." And just thought that was really beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to try this. I've never shared a screen on here, so if I just need to talk, I'll do that too. Let me close this one down. Okay. And share screen. Let's see. Okay, so honestly, I can't share just something from my, okay, here we go, desktop. Let's see.
There you go, yeah.
Is that it? Okay. So I'll pull up the little presentation. I found a website called Prezi. Have y'all heard of this?
Yay! Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard of it. But
I've heard of it.
I attempted to do this. We'll see how it looks. It was pretty cool to play with.
What is Prezi? Is it Prezi.com?
Prezi, and it's a free website where you can make presentations.
Huh.
So.
But it's non-linear.
Yeah, so like the little things will pop up. And again, we'll see how this goes. But so I
kind of cool.
Is there a way for me to see you guys though? I hate to not see y'all.
You can't see. We're done.
Okay. Well, I'll just talk to the little camera.
Well, you can't see us as little boxes somewhere on the screen?
I can't. I don't know why mine took up the whole thing. Let's see.
It could just be because of
there we
the
go.
way that software does that.
Maybe. Okay, I see you guys now. We'll just leave it like this. I don't tend to be real formal. So one thing I discovered, and you might have heard it in that poem, is that Isis really is the embodiment of the divine feminine aspect of the Godhead. So she is basically the divine feminine energy. And so that's why you heard Demeter, who is also Ceres, and you heard Brigid, which was from the Celtic tradition. Actually not listed on there was Mother Mary, Jesus's mother, is considered an embodiment of Isis. Mary Magdalene was actually an initiate of the Isis mystery schools. And you'll notice that Mother Mary wears blue and Mary Magdalene wears red. So the Isis initiates wore red throughout history. If you look at art, there was hints throughout history that the Isis mystery schools never died, but because of the rise of the church and the Catholic Church and the burning of the witches and just all of that, it had to be subtle. And so you would notice it in art and things like that, but it wasn't made public. So that's why she's called the goddess of 10,000 names, because she is the when we hear all this talk about the divine feminine rising and that sort of thing, it's that energy. It's the primordial first energy of creation. And, you know, the way it's been explained to me recently, which I really liked, was that if you think of source as all that is, as the number 0, right? Circle that is unbroken. And so in order for it to know itself, it had to become the observer and the observed, which both start with 0. So this is how you can remember it. And in sacred geometry, the Vesica Pisces is 2 circles, and the circumference meets the center of the other circle. So they overlap. And in the middle is where you get creation of that third energy. So in this case, it was Isis, Osiris, and then Horus was the third energy.
You did it.
Oh no, am I back?
There we go. Yeah, you kind of froze up.
I lost you. Okay, I've got full bars. I'm not sure why it did that. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it froze up.
Okay, so I wish I had something to draw with, but I don't know if that made sense. It really helped me to understand that the 2 aspects of God, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, really come from that same, you know, they're both the same thing, but for us to know one thing, we have to know the opposite. So that's why we live in polarity. We live in polarity because you can't know hot unless you know cold. In fact, hot and cold are the same thing. They're just 2 expressions of the same thing. Just like the divine masculine and the divine feminine are both God, they're 2 expressions of God. And so I say all that to say that Isis really is that ancient, primordial, feminine aspect of God. And so that's why throughout history, throughout myth, that mother energy showed up in different cultures, in different stories with different names, but it was still the same energy. And so what I think we hear so much today is about balancing that divine feminine and divine masculine within. And so if we look back at history, we can look at these archetypes of sort of these twin soul couples like Christ and Magdalene and Isis and Osiris, and we see the qualities, because they were the 2, we can see the qualities of each, and the idea is to integrate those within us, to have that full, you know, source, connection to source with both aspects. So let me minimize you guys for a second so I can get back to the screen. And are you guys seeing my screen right now or not?
Yes.
You do still see it. Hey, Sealy. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to use this because it's not working very well. Can you guys see this image over here on the right? Do you guys see that? Oh, no. Okay, so I'm really worried. We're getting the storm from the hurricane, and it's like really bad. The tornado sirens have been going off all day, so I don't know if that's why I'm not getting internet.
And out a couple of times
Oh, shoot.
too, but I heard a few of her words before. Well, that's why I'm saying schedule or not. I think everybody should hear it clearly from the beginning, but we can take a vote. Yeah.
Let me
Yeah, we can do a quick summary.
let me just try to move really quick, because I don't know if you guys heard me, but we're getting the Hurricane Harvey storms. It's moved up to Tennessee.
Oh.
And so we've had tornado warnings, and I don't know if that's why I keep cutting out.
I bet it is.
Yeah, let me move just a little bit.
Wow. Mother Nature's fighting back, huh?
We've already gotten like
Well,
6
Mother
inches.
Nature and Mercury retrograde, right? The 2 faces,
Yeah.
like I was saying.
Yes.
Oh, let me close the door.
Okay.
Who is it? Is it something like, I think it was, what's his name? Timothy Halloran said something about Neptune as conjuncting, I think, the moon on the 6th, and maybe because she's, water, she's bringing all the water and everything's flooding, and the same thing happened last year at the same time. Neptune coming at the same degree, and there was water problems as well.
Yeah.
So I think Neptune. Well, hi, Christine.
I snuck in.
Awesome. Hey.
I'm a Libra, I yeah. I might have to leave early though, but
That's okay. We're having technical issues because we're getting all the rain from the hurricane, so I keep cutting out.
oh,
Yes, so we'll just try.
hey Stacey.
We can hear you great now.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen, or do I need to redo that? You
I
can.
can't see your
Screen.
Okay, I'm going to share screen.
We see you.
Okay. So we'll go back to here.
Yep.
Okay. And again, I just started playing with this little website, so who knows what this really looks like, but I really liked this image. So this goes back to the idea, Christine and Celia, you might have missed it, but one thing I learned through this is that Isis really was that embodied primordial divine feminine aspect of God. And so that same energy is actually what we call Shakti and what we call Gaia and what we call, Parvati and Ceres and Hera and Kuan Yin. And so I just really liked this image. Also Mother Mary. I thought that was really pretty. Did any of you guys, have you heard that before, or did you know that about Isis?
No.
I didn't either. So it was really interesting. All the reading I did was apparently they called them container goddesses, mother goddesses, but throughout history it was the same. It was from the original, back when all that was in the universe was just consciousness, and consciousness wanted to know itself. And so it had to split into two polarities in order to know itself. It had to be the observer and the observed. And so I just found that fascinating. This is a little quote from one of Isis's temples, and it said, "I, Isis, am all that has been, that is, or shall be." And again, that just talks about how it's that same energy that we feel rising right now within ourselves, that we see within the collective. It is that same energy. And so that's why I also enjoy doing this research right now, because I feel like it's very palpable that we're feeling this return into our collective consciousness at this time. And of course, it's so very needed. So let's see. I really might just click off this website completely because I have no idea how it works. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so a little bit about the history. Isis was the daughter of Nut, who was Mother Sky, and Jeb, who was Father Earth. She was the twin sister and wife to Osiris. Together they had a son named Horus, and she was also sister to another set of twins named Set and Nephthys. So probably one thing that I noticed, and I don't know if you guys just saw this, but do you see how it's Mother Sky and not Father Sky, and Father Earth and not Mother Earth? So don't you find that interesting, that I wonder at what point in history, when we switched to a more patriarchal culture, did we start referring to it as Mother Earth and Father Sky? And it's almost like the male wanted to be like on top, like the sky is above the earth. I just found that so interesting. I don't know if that's the reason that it switched over time, but that's how it was back then. So basically, she was not only revered in ancient Egypt, but she was known all over the ancient world. So she never wanted to be worshipped. Am I cutting out again? Oh
No, we can hear you.
Oh, you can. Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. It's freezing on my end. I'll just keep talking. She never wanted to be worshipped as a goddess. She was she was love embodied. So she loved the poor, she loved the sick, she loved the animals, she loved nature, and because of that, people worshiped her. That wasn't a title that she ever wanted. So she has two myths that we really kind of get this archetypal energy from. The most famous you probably have heard, but it's with her husband and brother, Osiris. And her other brother was very jealous of their relationship. And he plotted to kill Osiris, and he did. And Isis is known also as the goddess of magic. So through her magic, first of all, she found him. She found Osiris. Set had planted his body under a tree, thinking that she would never find him. And she found him. They had one night together, and then Set's men took him again. And that's when the part you've probably heard, he cut him into 14 pieces and scattered him all over the globe, or all over the earth. And so Isis loved him. That was her twin soul. She searched high and low, and she was able to recover 13 of his pieces. And with the help of Thoth, who is also Hermes Trismegistus and Mercury, she was able to reassemble him with her magic. And then he made a golden phallus, because that was the last piece that she never found. That was the 14th piece. So with this golden phallus, she was able to conceive Horus. And so there's a lot of similarities drawn between the virgin birth of Christ and the birth of, because they were both not through natural, insemination where you have normal intercourse. And so through that myth, we get the idea of that devotion, that undying love, where she searched high and, she went to all the ends of the earth to find him and to put him back together. It also symbolizes the ability to piece together things in your life. So like if you're really good at sort of connecting the dots and really making sense of things that seemingly don't go together, that's another symbol of Isis. And I've got a whole list. I'm going to read it to you guys because I think it's really good keywords. So when you're looking at somebody's chart and you see Isis, these are some words you can keep in mind. Let me grab my phone. I left it in this other room. Does anybody have any questions so far before I read that?
I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Oh, the one question I do have is I couldn't find Isis in Astro.com.
That was my question.
I found it. It took me a while. I had to type it in at the bottom. There's no symbol for it.
No.
Is it a number?
It's number 42.
Yeah.
At the very bottom of the screen where you're on the chart selection screen, and you've got a little window where you can highlight some of the other goddesses. Under that, there's another window, and I just typed in Isis and then clicked on the chart, and it was in the chart, but it doesn't have a symbol.
No.
It does have a number though. Ellen, what's the number?
The number is 42, and so in that box at the bottom of the chart selection page, you can type in 42, and I would go ahead and type in 1923 because that's Osiris, and it's always interesting to see if they fall together in your chart.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So Osiris is what number?
1923.
1923?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
1923, you're saying.
Yes, 1923. Okay, so I'm going to read some of these keywords, and you can just kind of keep these in mind. So keywords and concepts for the archetype of Isis are collect, assemble, piece together, accumulate, unite, a need to bring together scattered parts, seeing the whole in a sum of parts, magical knowledge, undying love, faithfulness, the perfect wife, dedicated mother. So at the end there, you'll see the similarities to Asteroid Ceres. We think of her as the mother asteroid, with her whole myth with her daughter Persephone. And then also we see aspects of Juno there with the dedicated wife, the loyal partner, that sort of thing. So it's interesting that you can see it weaved through these other Greek and Roman goddesses as well. So one thing I think is really cool, as all of you guys know, because we've heard it so much lately sort of in the spiritual communities, is this idea of shadow work and reclaiming these fragmented parts of self that we've, decided aren't worthy or aren't good enough or that we're ashamed of. And so Isis can be really powerful as an energy to call on when you're doing this work of reintegrating parts of self that you have vanished from the system, basically, that you've decided you don't want to acknowledge, that you don't want to love, that you don't want to care for, you don't want to show to other people. When you're doing that kind of integration work, calling on Isis can be really powerful. And I actually found a guided meditation on YouTube that I'll share in the group that walks you through a really beautiful guided meditation to kind of call in those lost parts of self. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Okay. Let's see what's next. Okay, so there's the number. I guess I could have had that on the group, so you would have had your charts ready. So this just, I won't read it to you, but it just really talks about what she represents in astrology. And we see some of those same words: loyalty, devotion, resurrection, soul retrieval, healing of fragmentation, finding wholeness of self in relation with the other. I just feel like these are really key themes right now. We've got Jupiter and Libra really asking us to kind of look at relationships and finding that balance, redefining, I think. I know in my life, redefining what relationship means, what that looks like. And with the soul retrieval, I feel like we're hearing that a lot too. I feel like a lot of these shamanic practices are really coming to the forefront because people are seeing the need to not only in this lifetime, but to really recover all those lost parts of self, that were traumatized in past lifetimes, in the current lifetime. And Isis can help us with that. So in my own chart, and I can pull it up here in a second, but in my own chart, I have her conjunct the sun in my 10th house in Pisces, in the sign of my South Node. And I'm a counselor, and one of my favorite theories, or the, kind of the model I tend to use, not in any sort of strict fashion, but it's called internal family systems. And sometimes people call it parts work, but it's all about helping clients to identify which part of them is running the show at any given time. And is that part a wounded part that maybe is still acting from a 12-year-old perspective that was hurt by a certain situation or experience or trauma? And so it's so similar. When I started reading this, I was like, gosh, it's so funny that I was drawn to that particular model of counseling with Isis conjunct my sun in the 10th house. That's the service. That's my chosen career right now. And I just think it's so cool when you can sort of retrospectively look at your chart and be like, oh, that makes perfect sense. That helps me understand why I was drawn to that. So any questions so far? No?
Do you know when she was discovered?
Yes. Let me see. Let me pull it up on my phone. So I didn't get, I was going to have like 8 bubbles on here, and of course I didn't get it finished. So she was discovered in the mid-1800s. Let me give you the date. And this is really interesting. So the person that discovered her was a professor, and his daughter's middle name was Isis. It was Elizabeth
Wow.
Isis. And so that is purported to be one of the reasons that they named this asteroid Isis. And so I saw some people commenting, asking like, well, then how can you assign all of this meaning to it if it's not even the goddess Isis, it was this daughter Isis? And somebody had a really cool explanation. So they called it name frequency. which I really just think they mean just vibration of the word Isis, so that it carries that energy. And, that was the explanation. So even if the intention from this person in the 1800s wasn't to name it after that goddess, because it carries that sacred divine name, that it carries all of that energy of her. So does anybody have any thoughts on that?
I think I agree with it totally.
Yeah, and I think, what was it that Patricia Walsh always said, you can't make this shit up,
Exactly. I thought about her today because when I was thinking about my own placement, maybe some of you guys that know more about houses, but the fact that she does a lot of the past life regression work and the soul retrieval type work, where would y'all guess? Anybody want to guess? I don't have any idea what the answer is, but where would you see Isis in that kind of work, where she's kind of going back to past lives? And
12th.
That's what I thought.
And eighth house also.
And 8th. Yeah. It would be really fun to find out. I wonder if she would indulge us and let us know. So I'm going to take it off here because I don't have any more slides. So let me press stop share.
Did you want to show us your chart, or you weren't going to show us your chart?
Yes, I can. Let's see. Here, I'll let this get big for a second so that Christine and Celie can see it. I don't think they were here. I'm not sure if you can read it.
Can't see it here.
Okay. I apologize, you guys. I'm running like no sleep this week trying to get the house on the market. I feel so scattered. Let's see which one of these is mine.
You're doing great.
Oh, thank you. I'm like, maybe I should have called on Isis before this presentation because I feel like I'm really excited right now. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just going to go back to Astro.
Well, you are holding it together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you hear that,
Mercury
Ellen?
retrograde too.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Storm, tornado warnings. That's pretty unnerving.
Yes, and
my
kids were at school when the sirens were going off, and I was at the library, and they told me you can either go home or you have to come with us to the break room. I was like, I'm going home. I'm not going to get stuck in the library break room. So
basically stuck there. At least you got all the books.
We didn't have any touchdown though, so. Okay, this will be good because you guys can see, for those of you who maybe didn't do it, you can see where to put in the number 42 in 1923. Let's see.
I actually,
and I
actually
want to see it was today too.
I actually went on Astrodynast and checked out where Isis and Osiris is, and they're in my 12th house. And Osiris is conjunct my Neptune. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's powerful.
Yes, and I'm going to make a document too for you guys that has the Isis and Osiris through the signs, because I'm just going to verbally read them, but that way you guys can reference it and you'll have it to keep.
Well, that'll be great.
So
do you know where the transiting Isis and Osiris are now too?
That's what we're about to find out, because I went ahead and did the transits for today. So let's see.
Cool.
And everybody can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So transiting Osiris is in Aries, and he's retrograde. And Isis is, she's right on the cusp. Of Gemini and Taurus. Taurus and Gemini. So she's at 29 Taurus. So for me, she's entering, or she's in my 12th house right now. Okay, so you can see her right up here. So I've had Neptune retrograde hanging out right on my sun and Isis for a while. I would love any insights that you guys see because I'm still learning. Hopefully I'm going to learn a lot this week in Colorado. But this is my chart.
What degree? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have the goddess asteroids that we've covered so far also, and Isis and Ceres look to be conjunct. Oh, that's weird. Look to be conjunct in Cancer in the chart that I pulled up on Astrodienst.
Oh, for transit?
Yeah, in transit.
I did this right, didn't I? August 31st?
Yeah.
Oh, this is okay.
Well, one thing that I'll do too, we'll go through the signs first, but then we'll talk about sort of some placements that would be considered, I guess, like a strong Isis placement. And then, like I said, I don't have the information about the houses, so we can do that collaboratively. I couldn't find anything anywhere on the house placements.
Well, I do find that Saturn, that is opposing Isis, your sun, and Mars, I don't see the degrees as something very strong to look at because that's father time. You know, that separates, divides, etc. And here you have Isis completely opposite it. So here you're pulling it together, and then on the antithesis, you have time and separation and limitation going on. Yeah. So it's an interesting back and forth balance for you where you weave the togetherness with the sun shining bright, and then you have the masculine side that's saying, wait, this is this and that's that, and it happens to be in your fourth house of home. So that home aspect compared to your career aspect, I think that's a very strong axis for you.
It is. Yes, that Virgo Pisces axis, you know, I didn't click on all the asteroids, but I've got Vesta at 7 degrees on the other side of my sun. I've got Ceres at 3 degrees, the MC's at 4, and then Mars there at 0. And then Lucifer, I've got a bunch of stuff even between Isis and Mercury too. It's crazy. When I click on all of them, they're just all crammed right up there, but they're all opposing Saturn. So
how can you say that plays out in your personal life? Do you go back and forth between those energies? Do you find limitation on one side and then can pull it together in your career? How does that play out for you in your home life?
I'd say right now I'm so in a place of, I don't even know what the word is anymore. Like, I've never had this little direction in my life. Like, thank God I'm going to do this apprenticeship because that is something I'm passionate about, and maybe it'll spark some ideas or direction. But right now, all I know is I don't want to continue like I've been continuing in career really or home. So I'm just in this total place of like trusting and just trying to practice being, because I've been an Aries moon, like do, you know, achieve my whole life. And I'm just not there right now. And, you know, doing a lot of healing work and integration, and it's hard. I don't feel really balanced in either area right now, honestly. So much transition, so much change, so much upheaval. So.
Well, you got so much in Neptune, in Pisces, and Neptune is transiting Pisces. I don't know if you're watching that, but Neptune's been on your sun for a while. And I don't have the ephemeris memorized, but you should look and see. I can't see the top of this chart.
Yeah, let me think it.
Yeah. Neptune will do that. It'll put you in a fog and require faith and it's it's near your midheaven, so of course, it's affecting your career as well.
Yes, and I'm also in my Pluto square Pluto. It's been exact twice. It'll still be exact one more time. It's
Right.
also Jupiter, transit Jupiter is on my Pluto. Transit Pluto is exact conjunct my 4-year-old daughter's sun. And we've just been like, she's really challenging right now. And it's been rough, but you know, I've got a lot of support, and like I've stayed in touch with so many of you guys and just people from you know, that I've met recently that are more like-minded, let's say, than the friends I've had for 20 years who have no idea what a chart is or anything related to spirituality. So I do feel like because of that I've been able to make it, but it's been a tough little time period for sure. So
Sounds like it.
okay, so let's talk about Isis. Do y'all want to say really quick where your Isis is?
Mine's in Pisces. My Osiris is in Aquarius.
Cool. Oh, just like me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have Isis at 1 degree Virgo, conjunct my Pluto and conjunct my Uranus. It's in the 2nd house, but it's right next to Pluto, which is in the 3rd house. So it's right on the cusp between the 2nd and the 3rd.
Okay. You did say Virgo, right?
Yeah, 1 degree.
Yeah, so Isis is associated with the sign of Virgo. That is sort of her, you know, home sign, if you will. Because of
Yeah.
the Virgin goddess.
Ellen, do you know how long Isis is in a sign for?
Yes.
How long she transits?
It's like 3 years and then some, like maybe close to 3.5.
Oh, wow.
What
so
about
short.
Osiris?
You know, let me see. I have all my notes right here. I don't know if they move at about the same rate or not.
So my Isis is in the 12th house in Scorpio.
Was that Megan? I was looking down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then it's like at, I think 13 degrees. I'm still trying to figure that one out. And then my Neptune's like 21 degrees and Osiris is at 22 degrees.
And
then there's-
which sign?
They're in Scorpio in the 12th house.
Powerful stuff.
That is powerful. So powerful.
Yeah, I just need to figure out how to harness it and have the confidence to like be able to like, you know, use it for the good.
Well, you totally rocked it on your video on the Year of Astrology page. I was hanging on your every word. I thought you were a natural on
thank
camera.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you were so good.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay,
I have to listen to it. I haven't listened to it yet.
I haven't either. Can you post it, Megan, in our goddess group?
Sure, if I can figure out how.
Or maybe somebody can that knows how? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, where did you do that, Megan?
I did it for the Year of Astrology. It was like the Leo King's like homework challenge. So it was one of the ones that I did.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's like about 11 minutes.
Cool.
Wow, that's powerful.
Thanks.
Is it just a link, a URL that you can access, or?
it was a Facebook post, so I don't know.
It's I probably can't, yeah, because it's like on the private group for the Year of Astrology. How many are you guys? How many are in your astrology?
I am.
You are.
I will.
You know, I think you can't share from a private group, I think, because I've tried to share from my groups to other. I don't know that there's a share button.
Well, I have it. Maybe what I could do, like the video, I can just see if I can like, I'll see what I can do. Maybe on my phone. So.
Yeah, I would probably be just reposting rather than sharing, right?
Yeah.
I think so. So let's see, Lucille, and Christine, did y'all say where yours were, and Anathea?
I don't know, and I don't think I can plug it in right now because I don't have access to my computer.
Okay.
Whatever. It is.
I have
Oh, go on, Christine.
Oh, okay. I have it in Scorpio, 8th house, conjunct Vesta.
Yeah, woo.
Whoa.
Yeah, Vesta's at 22 and Isis is at 25. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to really work this Scorpio energy. So,
That's a really powerful placement.
yeah. I don't know where the Osiris is, though. I didn't look it up. I just looked at Isis.
Okay.
So what's the name of the group again?
Goddess Astrology Circle.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got mine in Isis conjunct Osiris in the 5th house. Isis is 29 degrees Sagittarius and Osiris is 0 degrees Capricorn.
Oh, cool.
Whoa. Is that you, Lucille?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would make sense. You're so in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
In your 5th house, your house of children?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Wow.
So I'll go ahead and go through each placement, and you guys just stop me if you have a question. Oh, go ahead, Aeolia.
Thanks. Mine's at 18 of Isis is at 18 of Cancer, and it's opposite Pallas Athene, trine my North Node, square Neptune, holy crow, trine my Pisces stellium. That's interesting.
Wow.
And
Wow.
because I think I'm older than most of you guys. Osiris is up in Scorpio in the 8th at 3 degrees. And it squares Ceres. Well, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, there is. You know what's interesting? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Sirius around 15 Cancer? The fixed star Sirius?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of fixed star knowledge.
Okay, well, Isis is associated with Sirius in a very strong way. So for you to have her conjunct where some people think her energy is from is pretty cool. Like that's her home. Like that's the energy she brings, according to some of the sources I found. So that was one of the placements I was waiting to hear to see if anybody had her conjunct Sirius. So that's cool. Okay. So stop me if I talk too fast or if you have questions, and you don't have to take notes because I'm going to post it and then you'll have it. Okay. So Isis in Aries, the divine feminine characteristics are felt impulsively and quickly. The increase in spiritual wisdom leads to increased leadership traits, and a fiery streak is added to the personality. The same fiery nature will be demonstrated to one who is considered to be the true love or soulmate. There will be an attraction towards chasing the opposite sex to find love, and this is in parentheses, it says after one's spiritual awareness is triggered. So Isis in Taurus, the divine feminine characteristics are felt through steadfast patience and when being opinionated in the quest for divine enlightenment. Beauty will be felt stronger within. Sensuousness will increase with heightened awareness during spiritual practices. Isis in Gemini, associated with intellectual gains in the past lifetime in Egypt, could have been a scribe or a papyrus maker or one who translated the hieroglyphics. In the present, transformation as an individual will lead to excessive interest in reading, data collection, writing, and speaking. I thought that was interesting. Isis in Cancer. So, Aeolia, this is you. The divine feminine characteristics are often felt through nurturing and motherhood. Can you relate to the aspect of the nurturing? Is that when you feel the most sort of the most feminine?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Okay, so Isis in Leo. This placement is associated with nearness to royalty and the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. In the present, after transformation, one will become more joyful and more influential through charisma, plus through one's hobbies. One would immerse herself into the enjoyment of higher pleasures of life and will never feel shy about this. So that's kind of, what we would expect with the Leo placement, I think. Isis in Virgo. The main characteristics of this placement is that after self-transformation, one's critical reasoning faculty improves tremendously and one starts paying a lot more close attention to the details than before. Now, I found that interesting because we already think of Virgo as paying attention to details. So for it to increase, I don't know if I would like that, but the women will feel more attractive when they are more cerebral, and the men will feel more heroic when they calculate faster or analyze more information quickly. So it's almost like the feeling of attractiveness is, with that placement, the feeling of attractiveness is related to that ability to process things quickly, to pay attention to details, to be analytical, that sort of thing. Isis in Libra, in ancient Egyptian lifetimes, very likely to be associated with the fine arts or decorators for the royalty. Could have been a high priestess as well. Did we have anybody in Libra? No? Okay.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. So now we had, here we go.
If you stop share, can you stop share real quick? Because I can then get on my, stop share your screen now.
Yes, let me see. Stop share. There we go.
Cool.
Okay. So Isis and Scorpio, we had a couple of those. In ancient Egyptian lifetimes, very likely to be associated with sacred sex as concubines for the royalty or priest. Chances also exist for being secret assassins. In the present, this placement is encouraging of seeking advanced sexual practices.
Of seeking what?
Advanced sexual practices, sex for enlightenment rather than just animal lust, and very strong sexual attraction for the sake of the higher mind or for the evolutionary level than external appearance. I love that placement. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I just gotta find that person to play with. That.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm curious.
Oh well.
You know Mackenzie, that's, Tim.
What?
You know Mackenzie, Tim's partner? Mackenzie Alexander?
Yeah.
She's starting that Tantra program. And so I'd be curious where her Isis is, if it's in that same sign. Okay, Isis in Sagittarius. In ancient Egyptian lifetimes, very likely to be associated with education and travel to nearby lands like Arabia and Sumeria or the Lower Nile. In the present, this placement encourages a renewed interest in higher education after spiritual transformation. Isis in Capricorn. In ancient Egyptian lifetimes, very likely to be associated with control of the masses in law enforcement and tax collection. In the present, this placement encourages the person to climb higher in the social strata by virtue of consistent services done dutifully for others. Chances of becoming heads of tribunals or a political commission becomes higher. Isis in Aquarius could have been the innovators and rebel leaders in ancient Egyptian lifetimes. In the present, this is a superb placement, as after self-transformation, one can become a radical thinker or a visionary philosopher. And I didn't want to mention, because Stacey, I know you have Osiris there, a lot of these are for Isis and Osiris. And then there's only a few signs where the sort of the meaning of it is different between the two. So Isis and Osiris in Pisces, it says this is the strongest occult connection, could have been members of secret orders and cults in ancient Egypt, could have known the secrets of the pyramids, the magical books, the true meaning of hieroglyphics, and about the soul higher self. In the present life, after transformation, this placement encourages very deep thinking about occult symbols, about the soul, about reincarnation, and so on. So if I figure out the secrets to the pyramids, I'll let y'all know.
Yay.
If that remembrance comes to me, I'll share it. Oh, goodness.
Maybe we could do a past life meditation and see what we can recall.
Yes.
That'd
Yes.
be kind of cool.
I haven't
I've
done
actually,
We should do
actually-
that.
Yes. Celie, were you about to say something?
yeah. Hey, we could do that as a group. I actually laid in the Yeah, I actually was in Egypt 3 times. I've been to Isis's temple. I've had lots of experiences, and I've been in the pyramid alone in the king's chamber and laid in the sarcophagus. And I had a beam of light pierce into my abdomen area right underneath my heart. It's very powerful.
Yeah. I
Wow.
can't imagine. Oh my God.
I have the chills.
No.
It's very powerful. Girls, let's go to Egypt.
Yes. Field trip.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We can sail the Nile. We can go down to Aswan, sail the Nile, stop in Luxor, and then hang out in Giza. I've got a friend that has a perfumeria right in front of it, and we can sleep there and have our windows open and see the Sphinx when we wake up.
Wow.
Awesome.
And then after that,
Save you money. Let's go.
we go to south of France and check out the Mary Magdalene.
Yes. Let's just go on a whole tour.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, that's on my bucket.
Around the whole world if we wanted.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Okay, so
Mm.
does anybody have any comments or questions about the signs or anything that maybe stood out to you or that you want to add?
I'm curious, you spoke of the signs, but then would that also relate to the placement in our chart? Like, let's say Aries would also be the first house, so maybe you have it in the first house in the sign of Capricorn. Would you relate both to that?
Maybe. That's what I was telling them at the beginning, I think before you came on, is that I couldn't find anything specifically about the placements. And so I told everybody, because you guys have probably been doing this longer than me, I would love to hear if we could collaboratively kind of come up with what we think, what feels right to us when we think about that.
For me, it resonated with its placement in the houses as well, even more so than the actual sign.
Yeah, me too.
Anybody else?
You too?
Yeah, see, I didn't even think to look at Capricorn for myself because it's the 10th house, so that's interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so next we'll talk about some of the aspects that are particularly potent. So Isis conjunct or trine Venus. Didn't somebody say they had conjunct Venus? Did we hear that?
I have Osiris conjunct Venus.
Okay, okay.
I have it trining.
I have it sextile in Venus.
Okay, so for that particular aspect, it says, such a person can have dazzling appeal. Many will fall in love with this person. A lady may find fame because of her beauty with this aspect. She will love to find her soulmate and will be true to him even if she is a celebrity. Such a person will be able to affect the Kundalini energy of her admirers through her appearance or even presence. This is something very important I forgot to say about Isis. So when I said that she is the Shakti, energy, so she's very much associated with the Kundalini yoga tradition and practices, and you can think of her as she is that universal life force energy. So she is what's activated when you have that Kundalini awakening and what travels, up through the chakras. I forgot to say that. So, okay.
So Ellen, I have Isis, this is Anathea, I have Isis 25 degrees Gemini in the 7th house, and then Venus 28 degrees in Libra. So that's 2 air signs, right? Does that make it?
That's trine.
Trine.
That is trine, right?
By element, but what are the degrees?
It's Isis is 25 degrees Gemini, and Venus is 28 degrees Libra.
Yep.
It's trine.
So that's trine, and so I applied to what you're just saying then, right?
Yes. So you apply to that, and I don't know. Some people for asteroids say like a 1 or 2 degree orb, but I kind of think, you're going to know if that energy, if you resonated with what I just said, I think 3 degrees is close enough. So. Oh, are there children there? Is that you, Celie?
No, I wish it was.
Yeah,
Maybe Lucia.
I'm at work, so it's definitely not me. Okay, so we have Isis.
Probably Lucille.
Yeah.
Lucille?
I've got Venus at 2 degrees Virgo and Isis at 29 degrees Sagittarius.
That's not.
That's earth and fire.
Let's see.
It would be considered like a square. Not a square.
First and fifth.
Well, yeah, wait, no, but that's close. It's an out of sign trine because the Virgo
Trine.
is right at the end. I mean, Leo would be right next to that, so it would be over to Sagittarius, right?
No, but it was 29 degrees of Sag. So it would have to be close to 29 degrees Leo, even out of sign, to be a trine,
Yeah.
right?
Okay,
Fire
I
to
think she
fire.
said 2 degrees Virgo for that.
Yeah. Oh, Venus is 2 degrees Virgo. Isis is 29 degrees Sag.
Oh, I see what you're saying, Ellen. Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying.
It's wide, but it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Only
Okay.
4 degrees.
So I'm really worried, you guys, because I just looked up and my battery.
Uh-oh.
I swear, y'all, I can't believe it's like unbelievable. This day is insane. So just to forewarn you, if I cut out, I'm gonna post the stuff I talked about when I get home and get it plugged in. And I'm so sorry if it ends up dying. Okay.
Okay.
So let me get through as many.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Aspects. So Isis conjunct Mars or Eros, asteroid Eros. Here, sexual energy gets enhanced, especially the desire for sexual union with one's soulmate, or even better, with one's twin flame. Some people with this aspect act as initiators of sexual experience to many in the art of sacred sex. And it says, note, this trait is more when asteroid Vesta is involved. So Christine, that would be you.
I think I have that too.
With Vesta and Isis? Or
So
Mars?
I have Vesta. So I have Isis at 7 degrees of Pisces. Vesta's at 14 Pisces, and Mars is 2 degrees Pisces.
Okay.
So they're all there.
Yep. So how many days apart? You're in 1979 too?
83.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought we were the same age. Okay. Because I have the same 3 right there in Pisces as well. Okay, so Isis conjunct Mercury, and this is what Barack Obama has. He was one of the celebrities that I was going to talk about. So what we see with him, and the example that I found was that, before I read this description, let's just look at a real life example. So he used his words. It was in his 6th house, and let me see the sign. And conjunct Mercury. So he's a great speech, orator. And so he brought people together through his speaking, through his service. And it says his nestled between his natal sun and Mercury in the 6th house, Isis shows Obama is a skilled orator motivating people to work together to improve their daily lives. I'm going to go ahead and do these other 2 because I think they're so fascinating, just in case it dies. But Carl Jung had Isis in the 10th house in Scorpio. He made a career out of piecing together the archetypal dream images from the deep unconscious as a psychiatrist, seeking to understand the whole from the sum of the parts. So, I mean, that placement right there, I think is it's like spot on to what he ended up doing in his life. Dan Brown, who was the author of the Da Vinci Code, which was all about the Holy Grail being Mary Magdalene and that Christ and Magdalene were married. He had Isis conjunct Mars and Gemini. His most famous novel, The Da Vinci Code, sees the hero of the tale piecing together clues to a hidden code which reveal a story of both his own lineage and that of Christ. So I'm kind of curious though, the Isis conjunct Mars that we just read was more all about the sexual energy. So how do you guys see that playing out in the description I just read?
Well, there was sex between Mary and Christ, and it was about finding the Holy Grail children of what that was. So maybe it's on a different level that it's coming through in terms of writing about it or thinking about it instead
Right.
of living it. You know,
So
more of
maybe
a cerebral side to it.
Because it's Gemini, maybe? Because it's ruled
Yeah.
by Mercury? Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
I didn't really take time to think about that, so I didn't know if any of y'all thought of anything. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to give y'all some links too when I make that post, because I found some really, really fascinating articles by Gray Crawford. He's an evolutionary astrologer. He does a lot of those Zoom meetings. I don't know if you're on that Facebook group that they do the free webinars, but he had 3 different articles about Isis and Osiris that were really.
Say the name again, Ellen.
It's Gray,
What was it?
Gray Gray Crawford. Gray Crawford, and I'll put the links to the articles in
Got it.
there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That would be great.
Yeah, they were fascinating. He's a really good writer, and you can tell he's really good at, and I didn't even catch where his Isis is, but he's really good at pulling the pieces together like a puzzle from his different research and really synthesizing it and making it coherent. I found all of them really, really interesting. Okay, so Isis conjunct the ascendant is a clue to an Egyptian past life. Isis trine the ascendant is fated to know about occult wisdom with ease and harmony. Let's see. Some of these, you get some stuff off the those forums and stuff, and I copied and pasted it into my notes, and I didn't have time to go edit it, so some of it I'm kind of skipping over. Isis square Saturn. Whenever Saturn is concerned, it is a past life lesson that was not learned adequately, or a past life quote unquote sin for which sufficient remedial action was not taken. When the aspect angle is square or opposition, the lesson is intense as the negative actions or negative consequences are too many. Remember, I had Isis opposing Saturn, so I guess that's what I'm dealing with.
Oh, no. Oh.
What did I do in a past life?
Just clean the shit up now. Who cares? Just clean it up.
Oh, Ellen.
Yes.
Are you going to talk about it? Because I have a trine Saturn. Isis is trine Saturn, and I have Saturn in Cancer and Isis in Scorpio.
Okay, it says pleasant aspects like trine and sextile indicate an ease of understanding the concept